There's a lot of anti-scientific nonsense floating around, and uneducated people keep passing it off as truth. It's hard to understand, but you can sort of sympathize with those who still can't accept the theory of relativity. After all, it's still a relatively young theory. Maybe it just hasn't reached everyone yet. But flat earthers are a completely different story. They seriously try to deny something that anyone can verify through everyday experience, and which has been known as fact for a solid 2,500 years. In this video, I'll give you several arguments that no flat earther can possibly counter, and even if they try, you'll easily be able to knock them flat on their back. Alright, let's go. Sunrises and sunsets are really just another part of the same horizon and perspective issue, but this particular point deserves special attention. On a flat Earth, sunrises and sunsets would be completely impossible. There would be nothing for the sun to set behind or rise from. The sun would have to remain visible, one way or another, 24 hours a day from every single location on Earth. This should be totally obvious to anyone who knows even the most basic principles of geometry. Yet, flat earthers have spent enormous effort trying to claim that these geometric rules don't apply. Most often, they fall back on the same old explanations: atmospheric scattering and perspective. But in this case, they'd actually be better off not mentioning perspective at all, because just bringing up the word in this context proves, quite clearly, that their whole theory is, to put it mildly, pure nonsense. Think about it. If, as flat earthers claim, the sun really does move in circles above a flat plane, then according to the very laws of perspective they invoke, its apparent size in the sky should change dramatically throughout the day. It should be tiny at sunrise, gradually grow larger as it reaches its highest point at noon, and then shrink again towards sunset. But in reality, that simply doesn't happen. Anyone can check for themselves. The sun sets with exactly the same angular size it had at midday. It doesn't shrink to a dot, as it absolutely would on a flat Earth. Still, some flat earthers must have, apparently, dropped into a physics class once or twice, because they've come up with a new argument. They now say that sunrises and sunsets happen because of atmospheric refraction, that sunlight bends as it passes through Earth's atmosphere, which supposedly acts like a lens. You can even find videos online showing experiments that try to demonstrate this effect using a lens and a flashlight. Well, what can we say? Sure, they might have peeked into a classroom, but clearly they only stayed for a few minutes and paid attention very selectively, because the atmosphere simply cannot act as the kind of lens they imagine, especially not in a flat Earth model. In those staged experiments, the lens bends the light rays upward, and yes, you can arrange the lens, the light source, and the observer so that the observer no longer sees the light. But real atmospheric refraction works in the exact opposite way. Air density increases as you get closer to Earth's surface, which causes light rays to bend downward, making the apparent position of a light source like the sun shift upward in the sky. That's precisely why we can still see the sun for several minutes after it has already dipped below the horizon. The atmosphere lifts its image, it doesn't hide it. For the atmosphere to actually conceal the sun the way flat earthers claim, its optical density would need to increase with altitude, which in reality it absolutely does not. The Coriolis effect is another irrefutable argument. It causes cyclones and anticyclones to rotate, makes rivers erode one bank more than the other, and sets the Foucault pendulum in motion. All of this is only possible if the Earth is rotating. A flat Earth could, at best, spin like a disk around an axis passing through the North Pole. But even in that case, the Coriolis effect would not behave the way we actually observe it in the real world. On a flat Earth, the direction of the Coriolis effect would be the same everywhere. In reality, however, cyclones in the northern hemisphere rotate counterclockwise, while those in the southern hemisphere rotate clockwise. This difference is fundamentally impossible to explain within any flat Earth model, by definition.
Earth's magnetic field has been known since ancient times. You can easily confirm it yourself by making a simple compass. Magnetize a steel needle and float it on a small piece of styrofoam. Under the influence of Earth's magnetic field, the needle will reliably align itself from south to north. If the Earth were flat, none of this would work. Earth's magnetic field is generated by the rotation of its liquid outer core around an axis that runs through the north and south poles. That is exactly why magnetic field lines are arranged the way they are, and why a compass needle aligns itself along them, pointing toward the magnetic poles. On a flat Earth, there is no South Pole, and even if we imagine the disk spinning around the North Pole, the resulting magnetic field would have a completely different structure, so different that a compass would mostly point upward or downward, not horizontally. Moreover, auroras would only be visible near the North Pole, but in reality, the southern lights are regularly seen, for example in Tasmania. Any flat earther who travels there and sees the aurora australis with their own eyes would have no choice but to admit their entire picture of the world simply does not match reality.
The night sky is the final argument, but also one of the simplest. Anyone with even a passing interest in astronomy knows that the stars you see in the northern hemisphere are completely different from those in the southern hemisphere. For example, the North Star is practically invisible throughout the entire southern hemisphere, while the constellation Octans, which contains Sigma Octantis, located very close to the south celestial pole, cannot be seen at all from the northern hemisphere. This happens for one clear reason, because Earth is a sphere and its curved surface physically blocks part of the sky from view depending on your location. On a flat Earth, this would be impossible. Every single star in the sky would be visible from everywhere because there would be nothing to block the view. So next time you meet a flat earther, just ask them to step outside on a clear night and show you Sigma Octantis if you're in the northern hemisphere, or the North Star if you're in the southern hemisphere. If they can't do it, and they won't be able to, then the debate about Earth's shape can be considered settled on this optimistic note. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Things are only going to get more interesting from here.